our first meeting. There's about 30 people in the room. Our last event was in May. We had 150 people in the room for that one. It shows that the people in this room are making a difference in the manufacturing community. You guys make this event great, but our sponsors make it possible. From the breakfast to the facility, we want to recognize the folks who are sponsoring this event. Real quickly, Lapata Flegel, Mike Weiss, there he is in the back. Accounting and CPA, Lapata Flegel, thank you. CMA, normally Dan Dean, Jay Staley, Tori Ellis, anyone from CMA here? Denise Marsh, no, they're not here, but Parkside Financial, Max Barretto. Max? I saw the hand go, there's Max right there, thank you. Tom Gotti from Black Twig, all your branding needs. I know Tom's here somewhere right now. All right, Atomic Revenue, Tara Kinney, Glenn Mankin, Steph Neeson. Thank you guys, absolutely. And for all your lawyer needs, we got Paul Sinelli and Paul Klug. Thank you, Paul. Absolutely. Jason Casborn, Chad Range from Swift Systems. Thank you guys. Please support our sponsors. We do have a sponsor table. You can get more information on all of them right back there. And also, don't know if you guys noticed, when you walked in, there's a fishbowl. We're going to send this around. There's business cards in this fishbowl. We're going to be giving away 2 books, Expensive Sentences and How Smart Companies Save Money. So we will be passing this around as the speakers go on here. Make sure you drop a card in there and get a chance to win a book. So without further ado, today's panel is taking a look at the bottom line. Specifically, how exceptional expense management can improve your profitability. We have a great panel of speakers here. We're going to start with John Hall, currently Senior Principal Consultant and Expense Reduction Analyst. Easy for me to say, right? They are a leading global expense management firm. Now, John has saved his clients $12 million since 2008. He has a broad organizational understanding of how department interactions impact company-wide results. John, thanks for being here with us. Next up is Ray Scott, currently Senior Partner at Experience on Demand. They're a consulting firm in Chesterfield. Throughout his career, Ray has successfully worked with several international companies and has traveled extensively on sourcing trips to China and Taiwan. Ray, thanks for being here. And finally, we've got the good doctor, Dr. Bruce Kellerman, currently Director at Expense Reduction Analyst. Again, an award-winning global expense management firm. He has a proven track record as a successful business executive and thought leader with 20 years experience in high-tech manufacturing. Bruce, thanks for being here. Absolutely. Well, everybody wants to know how to get more cash into their company, and I'm going to turn it over for John Hall to tell them.
Thanks so much. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Bruce and Ray and I want to thank you for being here. We know there's a lot of other things you could have done with your time. And so our hope is by the time you leave here this morning, you will glean a nugget or 2, or hopefully more, that you can take back to your businesses. So we're going to break this into 3 pieces. I'm going to start and I'm going to talk about the importance of expense management. We're going to start with a question. And the question is this relevant to you? And we'll walk through that process. Now I'm going to turn it over to Ray. Ray's going to give you a real-life experience of going through this process. And then Ray's going to turn the floor over to Bruce, who will walk through the 10 best practices that will lead you to exceptional expense management. So let's start with that question is this relevant to you? And why would we start with this question? Because our sense is most of you are doing a really good job of managing expenses. However, if you were thinking, might there be significant cash flow in my supplier base, then this would be relevant to you. And or if you're thinking, or you're curious about how much cash might there be available to me, where might I find that cash, and how do I get my hands on it, then this would be relevant to you. Thirdly, if you've got important initiatives in your organizations that are underfunded, and or there are other initiatives you would like to engage in but you have no funding, then this would be relevant to you. Or if you would be benefit by putting additional cash flow in your business for whatever the reason, then this would be beneficial to you or relevant. So let's talk about the opportunity. Expense Reduction Analyst has managed over 20,000 engagements, over 25 years, and we've learned a few things. And what we've learned is that most companies are leaving 10 to 30% on the table across large expense categories. And we're talking about indirect expenses. I'm going to go on a limb here and ask someone, when we say many companies, so we won't want to care to take a guess at what we mean by that. It's a percentage. What percent of companies would you imagine are leaving money on the table? 30. 50? Did I hear 90? 90% is the number. So that means 9 out of 10 companies represented in this room are leaving meaningful cash flow on the table with their suppliers. Now, what's meaningful to one company may be different than another, but at the end of the day, it's a significant amount. So normally we would stop right here and do a little exercise, and time doesn't allow us to do that. So just consider this. Think about one of your largest indirect expenses, maybe the top 2 or 3. And take 20% of that number and ask yourself, is that a meaningful number to me? And if I had it, what would I do with it? And more times than not, that number is significant. So let's look at this even another way. In our experience across those 20,000 engagements, the savings ranges anywhere from tens of thousands of dollars to hundreds of thousands of dollars or more. And again, each of you have unique situations that are different. 10,000 may be beneficial to one company, and maybe hundreds to another. But at the end of the day, these sort of dollars, in our experience, do exist within your businesses. The value goes beyond the cash and time. The clients are grateful for the money, but as important as the money is, what's more important is how those dollars are reinvested back into their business. And then it's the benefits of those investments that provide the secondary, and some tell us the real value. So the cash is there if you can find it, if you get it, reinvest it back into the business, and it's those benefits that are our greatest value. The dollars are reinvested in various ways. Again, everybody's situation is uniquely different. And these are just a few examples. For some, it's to improve profitability. For private companies, we see they want to create shareholder value, and this is a way to do that. In others, staffing. And staffing can go either way. In some cases, staffing means the cash is used to hire additional employees. But in other cases, the cash is used to retain employees rather than having a reduction in staff. Capital needs. Again, we've had clients that have desires to make capital purchases. They don't have the budget or the money to do that. The cash was found and those purchases were able to be made. And another is the support of unfunded or underfunded initiatives. Again, you may have things you're doing that you could use a little more cash to build up and make it stronger, or there are other things you're not doing because you don't have the cash. And if you have the cash, this will allow you to do that. So as you think about it, are there things in your companies you would like to do? And how much money would it take for you to do that? If you start there, then we can dig into the process of how to get the cash. One of the things that our clients are amazed by, they're amazed by one, where we find money, and they're surprised by how much we find. And so here's an example. This is from a St. Louis client. Now admittedly, this is a large client, larger than we normally work with, but these are real numbers. There are 11 categories on here. Most of them are not really conclusive, not the same, from small package freight to telecom to waste. So a wide range of categories. There's 11. We work in 33. So this is just a third of the categories where you can find cash. If you look at the dollars, again, significant range of cash savings that were found. But the other thing that's interesting is of these 11 categories, these 11 engagements, the existing supplier was retained either in part or in full instead of the 11. Across those 20,000 engagements we've done as a company, the existing suppliers are retained 70% of the time. So those dollars do exist with the existing supplier base. So how is it possible? How is it possible when you've all got good purchasing people, procurement folks who've done a good job, you've had success reducing costs, how is it possible that there could be more money? And there are 5 reasons. One is the goal of any supplier's sales force is to win as much of your business as they can at the highest margin. That doesn't make them evil. For those of you that have your own sales departments, I suspect you're asking your salespeople to do the same thing. That's their goal. Secondly, the greatest leverage for you comes from understanding your supplier's industries enough to know where their costs and margins are. If you have an understanding of that, you're going to be better able to glean further cash out of your suppliers. Third, suppliers understand that it's impractical for you to dedicate equal resources to less strategic costs. If you have businesses to run, you dedicate your people to those things that are strategic to your business. It's impractical to hire resources, oftentimes, to look after these indirect costs. Most companies lack the comparative market data to know the pricing terms that are really possible. It doesn't mean that they lack data completely, they just lack the right data. Doesn't mean they can't find savings, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they find the most savings for their needs and service requirements. And number 5 is that there are many misconceptions about procurement best practices. And we're going to share these in just a minute. They're very common, they're very innocent. It is rare that a company will engage in all 10, but we will tell you from our experience that most companies engage in at least 2 or 3. And it only takes one of these 2 or 3 to leave significant cash on the table. So let's take a look at those. One misconception is that suppliers give similar pricing to similar clients and customers. We have a client in St. Louis that was paying significantly more per transaction on a particular expense category. When we had data that showed a client that was 1/10 of the size was paying significantly less. So you can't just assume that of your size, you're going to get the same deal that somebody else would get of a similar size. Evidence suggests that's not the case. Your strategy and expertise in purchasing in one category will transfer to another. That's like comparing apples and oranges. Every industry's got its own pricing structure, its own cost structure, its own margin structure. So industries differ. And then also companies within industries can have different structures. So it's important to try to understand that in depth and breadth as you can. National pricing agreements are always better than local or regional agreements with the same supplier. Again, evidence suggests that that isn't the case. You can get better pricing on a local level than you even can on a national level from time to time if you know what to ask and you know where to look. Supplier loyalty, this is a big one. Supplier loyalty translates to best pricing and service. We have a client that had us take a look at the category, and they share with us that they're a trusted partner. We're a great partner with them. We've been doing business for 10 years. Haven't had a price increase in 5 years. And all of those things were true. But because that client didn't have an understanding of that business, what had happened in that particular business is that there were so many advancements in the industry that while that client did not have a price increase in 5 years, that client was paying 70% more than the market rate. So much for the loyalty. More volume always gets you a better deal. I just gave you an example at the very beginning. A client was paying significantly more than someone 1/10 of his size. There are many more things that go into pricing beyond volume, and Bruce will speak to some of those. Getting 3 bids will get you the best price. It'll get you a better price, but it won't necessarily get you the best price. In fact, more times than not, it will not get you the best price. Asking the right questions in your RFPs. One of the things that we see is that the suppliers are being asked to bid on things that don't necessarily provide them the transparency they need to give you the best price. And again, it's more than volume that the suppliers really need to see to be able to give you the best price. Group purchasing, for those of you that participate in group purchasing, will get you the lowest cost. Again, it'll get you a better cost, it'll get you a better price, but more times than not, it doesn't necessarily give you the best. Because your purchase patterns, your profile may be very different than the profile of the purchasing group. And so because of that, you may be paying more than you could be if you're out on your own, negotiating your own price. Because it's based on your profile. Lower price means lower quality and service. That's not necessarily true. A lot of times your clients are paying more because of practices and policies and procedures within those organizations that are actually forcing the supplier to bear more costs. So we've got example after example where we're working with clients and sharing with them, if you change these practices and policies and procedures, you actually make it easier for your supplier. And those suppliers have been able to reduce costs and actually increase their margins. Lower price is the same as lowest cost. And again, evidence suggests this isn't true. So as I said at the beginning, it is rare that most companies do all 10 of these, but it's very common for almost all companies to do some of these. And so if you're engaging any, these would be things that you should spend some time working on, and Bruce will give you some ideas on how to do that to reduce your costs. So now I'd like to turn the floor over to Ray Scott.
Good morning. Good morning. You still awake out there? Okay. I want to introduce myself. I am a senior partner at Experience on Demand, but what I'm going to talk about is a real-world example of cost reduction when I was at Code 3. Anybody familiar with Code 3? Good, good, okay. So what Code 3 does is they make emergency vehicle lighting and warning equipment. What does that mean? It means they make police lights and sirens. And their unofficial motto is don't shoot the messenger. In St. Louis County, Missouri, world headquarters, as we used to say, currently location, currently owned by Echo Safety Group out of Boise. And they distribute worldwide and purchase worldwide, but all the manufacturing is done in St. Louis, Missouri. So I was the Vice President of Supply Chain Management, part of the manufacturing group. And we had a pretty formal, structured cost reduction environment. We worked with engineering, and it just seemed that even though we had cost reduction goals, the focus was on raw materials and manufacturing. So like that was the only place we could save money. Now, as John's been talking, we found that that wasn't quite true. And what we tended to do every year was identify our large dollar purchase items, and then we go after those same large dollar items every year. Could be an engineering change, could be negotiating suppliers, could be talking to different suppliers. Does this sound familiar? Okay, so this is what we tended to do. And lo and behold, we didn't even look at any general and administrative costs. Just wasn't part of the cost reduction program at all. So I said we had engineering, we had manufacturing engineering, we had somebody from accounting along as a storekeeper to make sure that we were honest reporting our cost savings, right? Because you can't trust this manufacturing people. We know that. Full disclosure, I'm a former CPA, so I can speak accounting. Okay. So our CEO, our Chief Financial Officer actually talked to John to start with. And he said, you don't need to talk to me, you need to talk to this Ray Scott guy. Go down and bother him. So we talked to John, and he did a very nice presentation, covered a lot of the same points that he just had. And we realized that if we looked at our company as a whole, there were other cost savings opportunities beyond manufacturing. This was great. So the way that this worked is we put a little bit of effort into it, but if there were no savings identified, there was no cost for our company. That's a pretty good deal, right? So we thought that was pretty attractive. And after looking at our administrative costs, we decided there were 3 key areas where we could save some money. So I'm going to talk about each of those and then tell you some changes that occurred. Okay. Merchant card fees. Is that something you usually think about as a cost reduction opportunity? The U.S. Bank lady here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there's some savings there. We had, as a company, we had never looked at that. It just didn't occur to us. You know, we took credit cards for sales. We bought some stuff on credit cards. And so we said, hey, you know, you're in the accounting department, you take care of this. And we worked with ERA, expense reduction analysts, and they looked around and they said, gee, what are you paying those side fees for? So with, I won't say no effort, but with some negotiations and just calling this to the attention of our bank, right? Sometimes you have to talk to your bank and point out you're paying a little bit more. We were able to get more favorable rates and actually save about 31% a year on our merchant card fees. So that was a quick win. The accounting department got all the credit for it, so they were happy. And it contributed to the cost reduction goals that we had for the year, so we were pretty happy too. And we got involved, and we were looking at office supplies. Now, office supplies is one of those things that just sort of happens, right? People go out and buy them, maybe you have a single vendor. We had a vendor that would come in and stock a supply cabinet. Anybody do that? stock your office supplies. It was a pretty good deal. And we said, well, this looks like an opportunity we haven't looked at for 5 or 6 years. Why don't we take a look at what we can do on this? And rather than bidding out every single pencil and pad of paper, we put together a market basket and said this is kind of what a typical month's purchase would look like. We went out to several different vendors that had a local presence, national firms, local presence, and most of the local companies. And there were a couple of nice things about this. We put together an RFP, people responded to it. We were able to compare apples and apples because we were using the same market basket. And we got to make the final decision. It wasn't a case where someone said, well, you got to take the lowest bid. Because there's more to, I think John said, lowest price is not always lowest cost. So we didn't want anybody that was going to make us stock our own shelves. We were used to having people come in and fill the supply cabinet for us. So we did that. As it turned out, we stayed with the incumbent supplier at a 14% cost reduction, again, with not a lot of effort, not no effort, but not a lot of effort. So we were pretty happy with that. So now we got 2 wins. And then we looked at a new telecommunications system. We made police lights. We didn't know a whole lot about telecommunications. All right. So one of the places that we were able to profit from our relationship was to take advantage of some people in Kansas City that knew something about telecommunications because we knew practically nothing. We knew how to pick up a phone. That was about it. But through this expertise and our access to that, we were able to save 41% of your telecommunications costs. Is that pretty good? Anybody be happy with that? Yeah, we were pretty thrilled. So 3 projects over the course of about 6 months netted us the savings that you see here, and give us the opportunity to look at some other areas as well. So I want to talk about what the takeaways are from this program. Number one, it was a pretty good savings, right? So we got pretty good savings. Didn't take a lot of effort. In fact, we would have never looked at these areas had we not had a partner to help us out. So we would bypass these internally. We didn't have expertise in some of them. This was a low-risk approach. Okay, with a little bit of effort, we could share the savings, so we liked that approach. And pretty good return for the time and effort of investment, but this is a big thing here, big bonus. By going through this process, all of a sudden cost reduction was not a manufacturing chore, okay? It became not a manufacturing cost savings, it became a company-wide cost reduction effort. Open up a whole different area that we can start looking at. All of a sudden, the accounting people were partners, not storekeepers. Okay, that was a huge change. So I think one of the biggest things that came out of this effort was it expanded our view of where potential savings were at. We were able to look at areas we hadn't looked at before. We did some cost reduction in the marketing area as we went along. People got involved. They started to understand that if you can reduce your cost by $1, that goes right to the bottom line, right? Increasing your sales, maybe you get 10, 7, 8% of that to the bottom line. Cost reduction goes right to the bottom line. So we were pretty excited, and I think from a cultural standpoint, it really helped the company out going forward. Okay? So big success story. Very happy. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Bruce. Bruce is going to talk to you a little bit about best practices. And I'm happy to say that we had adopted a number of these, but not all. So hopefully you'll learn something.
All right, thank you, Ray. Good morning, everybody. On your table, you guys will have a handout here. So I'll be kind of walking through these top 10 best practices, so you're welcome to take this with you, follow along, take some notes. We heard a lot of good information, which I'll be referencing from both John and Ray as we walk through these top 10 best practices. So we've worked with a number of companies. throughout our 25-year history, we've found that companies that are exceptional at expense management, those that do a fantastic job, do these 10 things. Very beginning is they develop a strategy and a plan. And so if you're a company where you find yourself saying, hey, it's been a number of years since we've looked at this cost category, or hey, the contract is up for renewal, we better start talking, or we're going to send out an RFP to 3 different suppliers, that's not a strategy, and it's not a plan. Actually, a strategy and a plan is following these next 9 steps. So let's walk through those. First of all, analyze your purchasing history. That's the best place where you can start. And you'll be surprised at what you find. This is the first thing that we do when we engage with a client, is we ask for trailing 12 months, and we pour through invoices, and we go through the contracts, and you will be surprised what you find. You're going to be spending money that you don't realize you're spending. You're buying from vendors that you didn't realize you were buying from. And there may be some simple things going on, like one of our clients was a healthcare provider. So it was a small office where they had multiple doctors that provided care in different ways. And one of them was a pediatrician. And they wanted to provide lollipops and stickers for the kids. Well, they already bought some medical supplies from one of their suppliers, and they sold lollipops and stickers. So why not just add that on to our purchase order and buy from them? What they didn't realize is that they were paying 10 times the market rate by going through their convenient current medical supply provider. And it ended up being over $30,000 worth of stickers and lollipops for the kids. But it's something that's very simple, right? It's just add it on to the list. So this is not fun, pouring through, going through your invoices and looking for missed credits or missed rebates, overpaying things. You'll be surprised at what you find, you'll be surprised at what you learn in terms of where your money's going, but it's definitely worthwhile. One of the CFOs that we've talked to, actually a very clever idea which I'll share with you. They had an employee within the company that, let's say, did not play well with others. But he was a very meticulous individual. So what they did was they assigned him this job. And so he would go from cost center to cost center, just from category to category, and he would just do this meticulous analysis to review and spend and look for savings. And then he would move to the next one, and then move to the next one, and move to this is a large enough organization where he could do this all and start back at the beginning, and he more than paid for his own salary. So they found somebody that didn't quite work where he was and moved him to do nothing but this. And in fact, there's an entire industry, an audit industry, right, that will go into your company and audit and then find savings and then share with you that recovered money. So number 3 here is defining your qualitative needs. So John and Ray both have mentioned that this is not just about price, right? This is about getting your dollar, the most value for every dollar that you spend. So make sure that you understand your qualitative needs. These are the things that are worth paying for. In fact, Ray just gave a great example of my office supply guy. I want to make sure that they're stocking the shelves. To me, they sound spoiled, but that was a qualitative need. I'm sure some of you thought the same thing out in the audience. So, but what are your service requirements? What are your quality expectations that you have in that cost category? One of the clients that I'm working with, it was also office supplies, and he said, we expect same-day delivery. He said, don't tell the office supply vendors when you negotiate with them that that's the expectation. Ask them what their delivery policy is. Because if you tell them you want same-day delivery, they're going to say, oh yeah, we do same-day delivery, and then they won't and we'll get frustrated. Just ask them what their delivery policy is, and I'll use that as a differentiating factor when I evaluate the alternatives. So he clearly understood his qualitative needs, and not spoiled. So the flip side to this point of understanding your qualitative needs is understanding your buying assumptions. So your qualitative needs are those that you're willing to pay a little bit extra for, and the buying assumptions are things that you're paying for that you may not necessarily realize. And John had referred to a few of these. One example, and it's actually John's former client, is a manufacturing facility or a multi-site facility where we went in and found them a $500,000 in savings and small package freight. About 4 to 5 months into the engagement, what we came back to and we said, look, during the initial baseline report, when you told us kind of the boundary conditions of what you were looking for with regard to your qualitative needs, you said Monday morning delivery. But we noticed you're not using these consumables until Wednesday or Thursday of any given week. So would you be willing to take Tuesday delivery? And why did you say Monday morning delivery? So they went and talked to each of the site managers and came back and said, yes, we're willing to go to Tuesday delivery. And so we renegotiated and saved them another $500,000. Well, why did you say Monday morning delivery? And their answer was, because that's the way it's always been done. So half of the savings found was simply by challenging the status quo. So make sure when you look and you're getting ready to do an RFP or to do a negotiation, that you are challenging some of those assumptions that you've had internally, things that you've always done that way. Now we get to number 5. So John spent some time at the beginning of the presentation talking about how is it possible that some of this money is being left on the table. And understanding your suppliers and their industries is really key when you go to the table to negotiate. Anybody want to take a guess as to how much money do you think a company spends to understand their customers' industries versus how much money a given company spends to understand their suppliers' industries? What that ratio might look like? Any guess? 10 to 1. It's 100 to 1. So companies spend on average 100 times more money to understand their customers' industries than their suppliers' industries. So think about it. You're spending 100 times more money to understand your customers' industry. Why? Figuring out how to position your product, your value proposition, how you're going to sell it, how you're going to get the most market share at the highest margin possible from your customer. That's what your suppliers are doing. So you have got to take the time to understand your suppliers and their industries when you're going to negotiate. John also mentioned a company out there that was overpaying by 70% because their prices hadn't changed in 5 years. That was how you're thinking, how is that possible? That was from a printing supplier. And in the printing industry, the technology had advanced so much so that the costs had dropped by 70%. So while the supplier was holding prices flat, their internal costs were driving. And this particular client didn't even realize all these technology advancements had taken place in the printing industry. And then new developments and alternatives. I show packaging, some boxes over here. Oftentimes when you ship boxes, you're paying for volume. And about 30% of what we ship is air. So that's what you're paying for. And there are companies out there that will produce custom boxes that will fit that particular product that you're making. And so one of our clients that we work with, we help them buy custom boxes that were more expensive than the standard packaging material they were buying. However, their shipping costs dropped because it was taking up less volume. Their warehousing efficiency went up because it was so much easier to package something that had a custom box, and they didn't need a whole lot of extra insert material in order to support their product. So while the packaging itself was a little more expensive, the overall cost of ownership was a lot less. So look for alternatives that are out there because of some new developments. A couple other ideas. There's unique ways to contract. So each industry has their own unique ways. One of my clients, we reviewed their uniform purchasing. And so when we started off, we asked them, are you buying or renting your uniforms? And they said, we rent. I said, okay, can we have a copy of your contract and your last few invoices? So we came to them and said, okay, you're in a 5-year contract, and your prices have increased over the first 4 years at a rate that's twice the national average. He got up and left the room, came back with a manila folder, opened it up, read, closed the folder, pushed it aside. After the meeting was done, he said, Bruce, come here. Uniform expert doesn't know what he's talking about. Our contract clearly states that prices will not increase by more than 5% year on year. And he just reported that our prices have increased 10% year on year. So I said, I'm not a uniform contract expert, let me go talk to our guy. So I came back and reported and said, you are correct, that clause is in the contract. you read further down in the contract, there's another clause that states that the uniform supplier at any time can issue a written notice or make a notation on an invoice that prices will be going up by more than 5%, and if you do not respond within 10 days, those prices go into effect. So he pounds his fist on the table. He said, this is unethical. This is shady business practices. When you renegotiate on our behalf, do not include this vendor. And I said, look, I understand your frustration, but our job is not to go find another uniform vendor. Our job is to get that clause struck from the contract, because this is common practice in the uniform industry. We're not going to change you from one to another that's going to do the same thing. So those types of tricks that are played, those are across multiple industries. So you have to be careful, read through those contracts. And John was also referencing different costs and price drivers that are out there for your suppliers. So it is worth it sitting down with your suppliers and asking them, is there something that we can change with regard to the way we're ordering, maybe the purchasing frequency? For example, if you've got some custom labels, every time that your vendor is going to set up their equipment to produce your custom part, they're going to charge you a setup fee. So if you're ordering once a week, you're going to pay for that setup fee once a week. If you order once a month, you're paying for that setup fee 25% of the time. So ask questions, understand where their costs are and how you might be able to change what you're doing to drive down their costs, to drive down your prices. So number 6 here is reevaluating the current relationship that you have. And John referenced this earlier with regard to how long your relationship might be with the current vendor. So if you're with a specific vendor and you've been with them for a long time, chances are you're pretty far from market pricing. So really, you need to make them work for it. It's okay to have the same vendor for a while. It's okay to have that partnership. But make sure you're not just relying solely on them to give you the best deal. You've got to make them work for it. You've got to ask the right questions. So now that we've gone through these first 6, it's now time to go to market. And now that you've spent the time to understand your suppliers and their industries and where their costs and margins lie and how they might contract and what the different technology advancements are, what the competitive landscape looks like in your suppliers, you know what questions to ask. You know when to go out to bid. You know who to bring into your RFP. So now you're in a much stronger position when it comes time. And one of the best practices that we found out there is when it comes time to negotiate more effectively, is to separate the relationship between the negotiator and the manager of that relationship. Some companies that are small may not have this luxury. When we work with a client, it's de facto, right? We come in and we do the negotiations on your behalf, so that relationship is automatically split. But there are some companies that within their structure, they have one team that does the negotiating, and the other team that manages the supplier relationships. And so it might be worthwhile to look internally to see if that's going to be possible for you. One thing that I forgot to mention on number 7, the one beforehand, is some companies, what they do with regard to if they have the same supplier for a long time, is that they change the owner of that relationship internally. So Intel Corporation, who I used to work with in my prior role, they had a policy internally where you could, as a vendor manager, commodity manager as they called them, you could only be in that role for 3 years. And then you had to rotate out. Now you can still work in purchasing, you're just going to purchase a different product. And so there's some companies that will not allow somebody to develop that relationship long term. I mean, it'd be nice to have all the tickets to the ball games and that kind of stuff, but if you move them out and rotate them out, then you don't have to worry about that. So now that we know how to negotiate and we're out there, do this quickly. What we've been talking about is when you're overpaying your suppliers, that's a cash need. That's money that you are spending that's going out the door, unnecessarily overpaying your suppliers. So do this quickly and monitor your invoices. There are some companies out there that have built into their algorithm where they classify their customers as either type A or type B. The type A customers are those that monitor invoices, that will come audit them, the ones that are on the ball. So these companies make sure that the pricing that is delivered to them and the products are per contract. Their type B customers are the ones that place the order and disappear. They never come back and check. They never check invoices. They never perform any audits. So guess what? Fluctuations in the pricing will be happening automatically. Now that's kind of an extreme example of what happens out in the business world, but there are examples of that happens, unnecessarily, just by accident. So these mistakes will occur, and so by checking your invoices and tracking these, you're going to be sure to catch those. And then number 10, which is how I liked how Ray finished his presentation, where he talked about the change in the company culture. And it's really important that within your company there is this cost mindset, the cost control mindset. This is that if you do this just for a little while and then this slowly drifts back to the norm, you're going to go right back to overpaying. Prices will start to creep back up, and you're going to start leaking cash again. So make sure that your employees understand that no cost is sacred, that they're spending money as if it's their own, and you have reward systems in place. Are you rewarding your employees for coming to you with an idea on how to save money? And if not, I encourage you to do that. These are the top 10 best practices that will take you from good to exceptional in expense management. And what I want to close with is kind of the power of expense management. I think a lot of people, I know I give Tara Kinney a hard time, and there's Glenn, and there's Steph, Atomic Revenue, they're all sexy. So if you go talk to them, they're all fancy. Expense management is kind of boring. But the power of expense management is incredible. So if you're able to save money in expenses, that goes right to the bottom line. All of it does. You increase your revenue, by the time it trickles down to the bottom line, you've got some of it. The average margin for companies out there is 7%. 7% is the average net margin for companies across multiple industries. So if you're an average company and you're able to save $50,000, that's equivalent to an additional $714,000 of revenue. That's how much additional revenue you've got to go get in order to hit $50,000 in the bottom line. So take time to do this. This is worthwhile. It'll more than pay for itself. So I want to thank everybody for your attention. Chad, Scott, we got a giveaway, and also we're going to be open for some Q&A. So thank you, everyone.
All right, outstanding stuff. Thank you guys. John Hall, Ray Scott, and of course the good doctor, Dr. Bruce Cohen. Thank you. You guys, come on now. Any questions out there? They covered it all. Here you go.
What thoughts do you have on some of the online RFP, procurement, billing stuff, like SAP system, either on enforcing it upon your vendors or having to receive it?
Interesting you asked that because we had experience with that at Code 3. I would say online RFPs are great for the appropriate type of expense. So we talked about qualitative versus quantitative. If you have a high qualitative content in your commodity that you're bidding, it may not be appropriate to go online. I will say that an online RFP scares a lot of suppliers. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, as an old purchasing guy. What it does do is as a person putting out the RFP, it makes you concentrate and understand exactly what you're looking for, rather than having somebody come in and tell you what you want. So you can quantify what it is you want. It also makes it a lot easier to gather the information. Again, because you're looking, we talked about a market basket on office supplies. Everybody's bidding on the same thing. Everybody has the same format. A good online one will gather all that information for you as well and allow you to analyze it much more rapidly. So again, for kind of a commodity type thing, I think it's good. I would not use online RFPs for every single